All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast, episode number 195. I'm your host, Bailey Egbert, and as always, joined by the captain, Mr. Andrew Full. What's going on, dude?
Not a whole lot. Can't wait to go fishing on Sunday. I'm pretty jacked about that already. So, yeah. And the ice boom is getting pulled out on Thursday. So Lake Erie will be open for business in about the next week. So
does that open more slots for you to guide then?
I don't know, because like the first 2 weeks that boom comes off, the bite is really weird and tough. So I'm glad it's coming off now. So I have almost 4 weeks before my first trip. So they'll be just starting to set up into the pre-spawn stuff, late winter pre-spawn, and they'll be relatively easy to catch by then. Water temps will probably be in like the mid 40s, and they'll just be ready to chew.
Heck yeah, dude. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Now, do you have a bunch of open dates still for the remainder of the summer?
For the summer, it's a little trickier because we have derbies and stuff, but I have a couple dates left in April. I have 2 Sundays open in May, a Saturday and a Monday open in May for Memorial Day weekend because I booked a Sunday, so I'm off of work, I believe. So that's Saturday and Monday. And then June, I only have like 2 days left, I think, open that I'd be willing to guide. And July, the one weekend I can guide, I booked a trip. So basically like a few select weekends in August and September, and then if the weather cooperates, October.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
October would be a lot of fun.
If it's on and we can get out, oh yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. Heck yeah. That's got to be kind of a challenge with that Erie wind.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do for October when it gets closer, I'm going to be like, this is what I have open, this is what the weather's looking like, but this will be the makeup date if needed. And I don't even know if I'm going to do like a deposit deal for the fall just because it's so like wide open.
Right. More be like hey, I want to have this day open, this person is interested and might reserve it and be like, if, a couple days out, if the weather looks good, drop the deposit in type of deal.
Yeah. More like 2 days out, because I can't tell you how many times I plan to go fishing 2 days out and the weather changes the next day to like 45 out of the southwest and 99% chance of rain and wind. So
monsoons.
Yeah, it's out of nowhere. It'll be 70 and sunny, the forecast, and then the next day it's like 47 and rain and 52 mile an hour winds, gale warning. I'm like, well, now I'm shot for 2 weeks.
Well, dude, hopefully Sunday is going to be fun because it's supposed to be pretty warm, and we'll have the northern redneck, Louisiana redneck, most likely joining us, and it'll be his birthday. So apparently he wants to go perch fishing, which I told him he's stupid. He's not allowed to perch fish if he's fishing with us.
That is a possibility next week. If I do go on Erie, I might go perch fishing next weekend. Because the perch play right now is incredible. So
I'm gonna be focused on some big fat brown fish personally. But
yeah, me too.
But dude, some quick notes before we get on our guest today, Mr. Joshua BUTTS, who's recently, him and his partner just won the recent Alabama Bass Trail on Lake Guntersville. So it's gonna be a fun conversation today. But really fast, travel vlog down to Tennessee is uploaded today. Obviously today's a Wednesday, so yesterday was uploaded. If you guys haven't watched and you wanna if you're interested in the whole travel vlog type of deal, we've gotten some decent feedback on it already. That is up. Head over if you want to watch. And then tomorrow, dude, I'm headed out. Hopefully, go find some open water and get on some fish.
For Sunday? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. See if we can get some fish. We don't have to do too much work come Sunday, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But obviously, you guys will hear about the results on Friday if I do find fish or not. But without further ado, let's bring on our guest here. Mr. Joshua BUTTS, a.k.a. the Magdraft. What's going on, dude?
What's up, guys?
I love the Magdraft energy, dude. I'm all about it.
Absolutely.
I got to give Josh a quick shout-out here because let me actually pull up his message. This is how I get psyched up when guys are this excited to come on the show. He goes, I sent him a message because I said, pumped to chat with you, dude. He goes, dude, y'all better be ready because I'm beyond pumped. And he goes, I'll have a cold beer in one hand and a freestyle Magdraft in the other. I'm all about that, dude.
I can't give. I'm not sponsored, so I can't be giving out what I'm drinking. So I'm not sponsored by this either. So it's a swim bait. So
Fair enough.
I love that energy. When you sent that message, it was like that scene from Step Brothers in my head where they look at each other in bunk beds.
That's it for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Heck yeah, dude. But dude, before we get too deep into the podcast tonight, briefly for the folks who may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then how you got started bass fishing in the first place, and who installed the passion in you.
Well, really, I'm not in a fishing family, really. Pond fishing, I guess. Like we pond fish, and my uncle has a little boat. We'd go in and stuff sometimes, but really, I just grew up pond fishing, and my granddad and we built a pond in the pasture with two shovels, and we looked at each other one day and said, we can't do this anymore. So we hired a guy with a track hoe to come in there and dig the pond out. Well, he dug the pond out, and I was raised on a cattle farm as well. So the cattle farm had this branch that ran through it. And one day I went down there and right beside my house and dropped like a little worm with the tiniest hook, like a trout hook, with a little piece of worm on it, and started catching fish. I started catching little bass like that. And I told my granddad, I said, I'm never raised for money. So I would take these little fingerling bass and take them to this pond and stock this pond with those fingerling bass. And 3 years later, I'll go to that pond and go and catch 2-pounders. And I told my granddad, I said, this is what I want to do. I told my whole family, like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is my this is my this is my calling. This is my niche. Like, I've already found it. And I've always been in the outdoors and, doing that, stocking the pond all the time. I would put little brim in there for them to eat on, out of that little branch as well. So, pond fishing, building my own pond, and with my granddad, and it's still there to this day. And I haven't went over there and made a cast in 5 years. And one day I'm going to go over there and catch an 8-pounder. I'm just ready for that day. So,
heck yeah, dude. How'd you get into tournament fishing?
Actually, my dad's friend that played, he played basketball with my dad and went to school with my dad. His name's Richard Holland. My next door neighbor went on a guide trip with him because he's a guide at Guntersville, and went on a guide trip with him one time. And he told I played basketball with his son out in my driveway, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, Joshua, your dad's best friend is a guide at Guntersville. If you guys want to go up there one day, and I know you like fishing, I know you want to get into tournament fishing." So I said, "Okay, sure." I gave him the brochure, and it was called You Catch 'em Guide Service at Guntersville. Still has it to this day. And Dad and I went up there one weekend, and I said I was he had a 21-foot Triton with a 225 Mercury Optimax, like an old Mercury. It was the nicest boat I've ever been in. Like, I was 12.
You're starstruck.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is a guide. Like, he knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm here to learn. Like, I'm all open. I'm all open eyes, open mind. Like, teach me. And I'm not too good for something that I don't know. And I think a lot of bass fishermen are like that these days. And they think they're too good for something that they don't know, and they don't admit it. But I'm here, and I'm open eyes and open mind, and that's what I realized that day, because I was a pond fisherman. I fished the Guntersville off the bank, Browns Creek Causeway. I could go and park on the side of the road and fish the causeway and catch bass all the time. with a little Texas rig worm and stuff. And we went on that trip that day. I caught the first bass, and Bird Richard, he was like, Lavoy, which is my dad, and he was like, he has a calling to be a tournament bass fisherman. And he said, do you want to be a co-angler for the ABA, which is the American Bass Anglers Association? And Bass used to sponsor that event. And it used to be the weekend series. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that. I did that the first year and made nationals. And I came 10th in nationals that year. And I was just blown away. I didn't have the right rods. I didn't have the right reeling rods, all this stuff. I was 13, 14 years old. I didn't know what I was doing, you know. And my mom would take me to these tournaments, and my dad would take me to these tournaments, and I started there, and that's for everybody. If they do watch this podcast, and I hope they do, that I hope they learn that they can start from scratch. Like they can, if they really feel the feeling of it, of going and making it pro, or going and making it just locally. I mean, if you feel that, go after it, no matter how much money you have. I had no sponsors. I've had nobody give me thousands of dollars to go and do stuff. You can do it without that, without rods, without the sponsorship rods, the cash-ins, the ducats. You don't have to do that. You go and have fun. Post on your Instagram. Post on your Facebook. Go. You don't have to have a TikTok yet. Just get your name out there. If you're wanting to catch a fish, post it. Take a picture with it. Post it. No matter if it's a pounder or a 12-pounder. Post it. Release it. And that's how I got started. I know I went down a wormhole, but I love it so much. I don't care.
We encourage it.
Yeah.
All about it, dude.
Yeah.
But so obviously you progressed and you fished and you had some success in college, and then obviously you're fishing the Alabama Bass Trail now. What other avenues are you fishing in currently or looking to progress to?
I'm looking to progress into the opens. That's really where I'm wanting to go, is the opens. I want to fish as an angler, but going back on the weekend series, these guys that I fished behind the boat with, and it goes way beyond like pro series. Pro series, you can fish behind a boat with those guys if you'll follow me. In the local events, I'm fishing behind guys that are locals for that lake and learning stuff that they know and presenting that to other lakes in the same state. And that's really helping me out. And it's making me venture to other techniques and stuff as well. But like Mark McKegg, Tim Hurst, if they listen, I've learned so much from them. Adam Bain, Chris Colley. These guys are like local hammers, like win everything, always cash a check. And I fished with those guys, and I know I've learned from them, and I take it to other lakes. And that's what helped me in college as well. Going to college, winning 2 tournaments, wild cards, because I didn't make it, in the original season to make it to the championship. I fished a wild card, and I fished 2 wild cards and won both of them. And that stuff, when you drive a fire in me, I'm going to come out with a vengeance, and I'm going to practice my butt off to go and try to win the next event or qualify for the next event. And that's what really set a fire in me for the wild cards too in the college series. And 2 is working my butt off. Man, the college series was so crazy, man. Like we had a team. I came to college. I know you're probably going to get there, but I'm just going to go ahead and get there.
Fair enough. Run with it.
Yeah. So the college. So I went from the ABA weekend series as co-angler. ventured off from there. I moved to Wyoming and started welding the oil field. So like I was doing that for a little while, stopped fishing, and I had to come back for family issues, and came back. And when I came back, the fire set back in me for fishing. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I fished the ABA co-angler for 2 years. After I left that, I said, I really want to go to college, and I really want to do something with my life instead of be a landscaper and making $14 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'm going to go to college. Went to Wall State, applied for Wall State, got a scholarship for welding. And I talked to the guy that was over the bass club at the time, but he said there was no bass club. There was nobody to do a bass club. And I said, I'm here, man. What do you need me to do? Like, I'm here to do whatever you want me to do. He said, well, just come out, sign some paperwork, and let's start the thing. I said, okay. His name's Joe Hendricks, if he watches. And that's who started me for everything. I mean, there's so many people, man. I can't keep up with how much the progression is. I mean, there's so many people. But Joe Hendricks is the one that started the bass club. Ethan Flack is the actual one who started the bass club. He was a student of his. Went to orientation, started the bass club, and sponsors were a big thing, man, because the school never funded it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to end up getting sponsors for the team so we can travel to these events. And we'd have 4 to 5 events at the start of the season, and ended up getting sponsors from local, like Coleman companies for a tax write-off. I was blessed to have that. Ended up failing at St. Lawrence River for the first year, and went to the wild card at Lake Barkley next to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Rivers and I ended up winning that event, and that really set a fire in me. So I was like, we're making it. And dude, I cried the first event. I said, man, I'm way better than finishing the instead of making the championship. I'm way better than that. And like I was crying, and my coach said, which was Joe Hendricks, said, you'll do it next event. You're going to win the next event. I said, oh, I'm going to. And went to Barkley, won that event. Justin Rivers, my partner at the time, was a great guy. We still talk to this day. And after that unfolded, I said, this is what I want to do. This is really what I want to do. And I started the Bass Club at Wallace State. ESPN was recording us at the time. We was on ESPN U for an hour, and I was like, oh my God, I've never had this before. I don't know what this is. I'm starstruck at myself, and I got it recorded on my TV, still watch it, like just to pump me up for a next tournament. And that was the start of it. That was like the start of it. And after that, man, fundraisers were a big deal. The team helped out with that, and I grew the team from 2 to 20 to 40 to 60, and it was like, oh my gosh, man, what have I started? Like, and the teachers at Wallace actually knew that I had so much going on with the bass club because nobody else wanted to do it, that I was head over heels with that. They would actually help me with my schoolwork after hours. And it was
good support.
It was very good support, and I can't thank Wallace State enough for sure for helping me with my schooling as well. Because if it wasn't for them, I would have not been able to do what I was doing. So, but anyways, fast forward to 2017. Didn't make the national championship, so we had to go fish a wild card again at my home lake at Lay Lake. The water rose. I went up to the tail races and found a little current break there and threw a 5XD and ended up winning that 3-day tournament. And at the second win, I said, oh, for sure I'm going at it 100%. All my family was like, what do you want to do when you get out of college? I said, well, I'm really in college to fish. Like, I mean, I want to go for business. I want to go for welding. I've got associates in both of those. But what I really want to do is something I'm not going to school for, is what I'm doing on the off time, but at school as well, and that's fish. And got my business management associates and welding associates, and now I'm working with my best friend Steven, and we also fished the Alabama Bass Trail together. And I'm just still trying for it, man. I'm ready to go 100%, and I don't know what it's going to take, but I'm a faithful man. I believe in the Lord, and I know He's going to help me one way or another as long as I stay faithful, and that's it.
Heck yeah, dude. That's so sick. So what that being said too, like that whole journey, what's the end goal for you? What do you want to accomplish?
I want to be in the Elite Series. And like I will screenshot this right now, and I don't care if it's when I'm 60. I don't care if it's a year down the road. But like my drive in my head and my body and my heart, that's it, man. Like I've never met someone more motivated to go to the Elite Series than I am. Like that's where I want to go. Like I know my capabilities now. I don't like cocky people. I like confidence people. And I'm confident in my skills. It's the money wise that gets me. And because you got to be truthful on the podcast. I don't care what you do. It's money wise that gets you from point A to point B.
Oh, for sure.
And that's it. And this win from the Alabama Bass Trail really helped thinking about where I'm going to go next, especially savings. I mean, putting in savings, working 2 jobs, working my own company, and then working during the day really helps out. So just thinking about it, what I'm going to do next, and just helps me. I mean, it really, really drives me to do more for fishing. So,
right.
Fair enough.
So Andrew, this is that one thing. So when he does make the Elite Series, we can come back and take a snippet.
Hot
And
takes.
you're like,
Hot takes.
you called it.
yeah.
Yes, I was going to ask you what the timeline, like, so you're fishing the Alabama Bass Trail now. Are you looking to jump to the Opens next year? Are you fishing several this year? Like, what's your plan there?
Well, it really all depends on how the rest of the year goes for the Alabama Bass Trail, and work really. If it goes well, I'm going to try the Opens next year. I'm trying to save my money up this year is what I'm trying to do to make it at least try it one full year to go into the Opens. I mean, because man, it's so expensive, and I've got a girlfriend, but I'm single because we're kind of like, okay, I don't care if you go and fish, like, and she's great for that. Like, that's why I want to be with her, is because she's like that. And I think if it keeps happening, she supports me 100%. So if it keeps going on, like work goes good, Alabama Bass Trail goes good. Hopefully next year I can try to pay my entry fees in the Open. I see all my buddies from the kickback crew right now going into the Opens, and I'm like, dude, I just wish I could go to Smith Lake in 2 weeks right now. Like, because that's when we're really good at Smith Lake, is in like 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh gosh, I want to be there so bad. Yeah.
Well, that is one nice thing though, is that now that they got the 3 divisions again, so travel cost kind of goes down a little bit.
It does, yeah, for sure. But I really want to travel and like do all of them. It helps you out too with points. I mean,
absolutely.
It really does. So if I'm going to go full in, I'm going to go full in. I don't want to go and fish just my division. I want to fish all divisions and try to make it. I mean, I just think that's the best way to go than to go in there just in the Southern Division and try to make the Classic.
Yeah, and not only does it help you with points, but I think fishing around each division, if you don't have experience in certain locations, helps you. Whether you do bad or not, you're still getting experience. You're still getting knowledge on that area, that body of water, so that it prepares you so that when you do make that next step, you do qualify for the elites, right? say that where you qualify, you're not going into a brand new area that you've never seen. You know, it's like we've talked offline how you love coming up north, St. Lawrence River and things like that. The more experience you can put in, you hear about these guys that make the elites too early, and you hear guys say too early because they made it in their region, but they've never fished anywhere out of that region, and they come and it's brand new, and then they're just so much, it's overwhelming. This, like if you're fishing all 9, you're getting experience everywhere. And I personally think that's the best way to, obviously I'm not the best person to be speaking on the subject, but I think that's the best route to getting to the Elite Series because you're prepared. So when you do get on that trail, you've seen each region, you have a basis, you're not going in there with a fresh, clean slate. Whereas if you spent a couple days, if not a week there, you have some ground, some notes that you can fall back on that can kind of give you a fast forward for when you do go to those events.
Well, Bailey, let me stop you right there. It's potato to me. You're potato, I'm potato. I like a new lake because I don't have history on that lake. I'm way better at a new lake. Like nobody's going to stop me because I don't like talking to people about fishing.
Right.
I like we stay with the best guys on the Alabama Bass Trail. We talk hardly zero about bass fishing when we're together. You know why? Because it's going to screw with all of our heads. Mm-hmm. So I love going to a new lake and exploring it. And I take notes about that lake, but I don't have notes prior to that lake. I don't go and I myself, I don't go and do research on the lake. I go and drop my boat in the water, learn the water temp, and learn where the bass are migrating that time of the year due to that water temp. And that's what helps me so much. That's what's helped me on the college series so much is traveling to these different locations, learning new bodies of water. Like Bull Shoals, man. That's a perfect example. I bring up Bull Shoals all the time because it's a perfect example. They were in such a transition there. They were bedding, they were post-spawn, and they were pre-spawn. They were in all 3 different transitions. So what are you going to lock into in that tournament? That it was a post-spawn, pre-spawn deal because if you locked in a 3-day tournament to a bedding deal, you're going to get your butt beat. Mm-hmm. Because it was in all different transitions. You'll catch a skinny fish, then you'll catch a fat fish. So you wanted to work on those breaks and you wanted to work on those secondary points that come out to the main river. That's why people call them on a Carolina rig. That's why people called them on a jig. That's why I called them on a Magdraft. Is because they were pulling out, pulling in. The ones that were in were going to stay there until the second day of the tournament and pull out.
So you had fish coming to you 2 different ways.
You had fish coming to you 2 different ways instead of one way, and that was and that was the Alabama Bass Trail this last week.
That's a really good – because there's probably a lot of guys that went up, saw a fish on bed, and they're like, yep, there we go. We're going to fish spawners.
Yeah, I caught 2 fish on bed that tournament. Didn't finish great. I had a 16-pound bag the second day, but that's when it clicked in my head. Because I would hear people, they would say, oh, I caught them on a Carolina rig. Oh, I caught them on a Magdraft. Oh, I caught them on bed. I was like, ding. I was like, evidently they're coming in, they're coming out, and they're bedding. And I said, I'm never getting hooked up on bedding fish for maybe during the Alabama Bass Trail tournament here coming up because we have Wheeler in 2 weeks. So that could be a bed fish type deal. But there was that Bull Shoals tournament. There was a bunch coming in, coming out. You wanted to work on secondary points. You had 2 different – it came to a point you had 2 different fish coming in and out. So, yeah, that really helped out a lot there.
Yeah. So let's dive into that. Your recent win, obviously, on Lake Guntersville. What kind of deal were you on, and kind of what were you doing? That obviously you dropped 28 pounds on the scales.
I feel like we know it's coming up in his left hand.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw him look down.
Yeah.
A swim
That's
bait.
the big swim bait. I mean, it's as big as my hand. I mean, it's
Right.
it's a mag. I mean, if people follow Chris Dane, he throws a Magdraft a lot. I mean, I think he tries to keep it a secret. I'm not sponsored by him. I'm not going to plug anybody else, but the Magdraft's the deal, man. I'm not going to lie. You just have to have confidence in it.
Right.
One thing that was happening there, and I told you a while ago, like fish moving in and out. These fish were all moving in. If everybody is, I'm sure if everybody loves bass fishing on here, then they know where Browns Creek Bridge is. And the current was actually – so the water's been down a lot here lately, and it's still down at Pickwick for the Elite Series tournament. It's still down at Guntersville. They still haven't pulled the water up to where it should be. And if they did, there would be a whole lot more fish on bed right now. A couple of my buddies caught a bunch of fish on bed at the ABT, and my buddy Adam Bain actually caught 2 7-pounders on bed, and they had 22 pounds. They finished third. They caught them on bed. But these fish were in a big funk. And the reason is because that water was still down. The moon phase hasn't happened yet. The water was still down. Steve, my partner Steven, and I wish he could come on here, but he had to his son had to do some stuff tonight. But we practiced the weekend before. We practiced Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday the week before, and then Thursday and Friday the week of the tournament. And we noticed that there wasn't a lot of fish in the grass. Like, yeah, you could catch a 5-pounder, you could catch a 6-pounder, and you just had to burn through water, and you had to put your trolling motor on 6, 7 and just cover water. But the thing was, there was 25 other boats doing that as well, covering the same water you're covering. So Thursday, when we'd come in to practice fish a day before the tournament, or 2 days before the tournament, we came in and we fished. Where did we fish? We fished. I think we launched at Browns Creek, and kind of fished all the grass around there, all the grass and all rads, and it just wasn't happening, man. We could see bait fish. We could see fish coming in. We'd catch one every now and then, and we noticed all the boats around us, they weren't catching a lot of fish. And usually at Guntersville, if there's a big pool of fish coming up, you're gonna catch fish a bunch. The other people are gonna catch fish a bunch. It's easy there at Guntersville. So we eliminated practice, and I tried to go on live scope that afternoon, and I would see fish moving in the Spring Creek Bridge, moving in towards the creek. Not a lot of grass in there, but a bunch of bait. And I said, okay, this could be the deal. So I'll look at live scope, look out at about 30 to 40 foot, and I would see dots. And I said, okay, these are individual bass coming in. So I had a Mega Bass 110, and it had water in it. It had a leak in it. So I would throw out, and I could see my jerkbait kind of sinking a little bit. And I was like, okay, this may be good. I was like, this may be good for live scope. And 30 foot of water, you know. So I would throw out, I would jerk it once, and those fish would come up and eat it. And I was like, okay, well, I set the hook, and it was drum. And I said, okay, drum and catfish. I could have took anybody on a guide trip that day and caught drum and catfish all day long.
Perfect.
On a jerkbait. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. It wasn't good for us.
No,
I was like, but I could sit there and have the time of my life doing that because it was so much fun.
when you leave it, like, oh.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And my partner Steven was like, the sun was going down, and we were staying in a camper at Seabold. And I said, man, let's just stay here tonight and just catch these fish. It's so much fun. He was like, one more cast. I said, okay. So I looked for another fish, and I found one, and I threw at it. And I set the hook, and there was like 10 fish around it. And I was like, I think that's bass. And I threw out there, that one came up, got it, and it was like, it fought different.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that had to be a bass. And it broke me off. So I had to go to GTO and get another jerkbait and try to figure out how to make it sink, because this jerkbait was sinking with water. So I was like, okay, I can put bigger hooks on it. I could put suspend dots on it, you know. So I put suspend dots on it, but all it would do is just go forward. It never would go.
Mhm.
It would just. I was like, oh no, that's not good. Don't do that. I was like, no. But I put that up. What we saw though was great that day. We ended up trolling in the bridge at Spring Creek, and we saw different balls of bait fish. So we'd see crappie up high, we'd see barfish down the middle, and then shad, gizzard shad, threadfin. They'd be in balls. You just see them going around in 20 to 30 foot, just everywhere. But when those bait fish came by those pylons, you'd never see the bass until those bait fish came by the pylons, and they would come and bust them in 30 foot of water. And I said, okay, that's bass. We know what we're doing now. We're going to the same spot we did last year and came in fourth, and we're sitting there all day if we can get on it. Because those fish are in that transition. They're going. There's no fish coming out. There's a couple bedding. I mean, they've already came through, but March is such a great time for that. The fish just pull up and go up strong in March, especially when the first. I'm giving y'all some nuggets now. This is. I hope not a lot of people hear this from Alabama, honestly, because I will never get back on the bridge. The first warm trend, and it's not called a warming day. It's not a warming day. It's a trend. When you have 2 or 3, they're not going to come the first day of the warming trend.
The 3rd or the 4th or the 5th day.
Correct, and it just happened. I mean, we hit it right on the month. Actually, it probably was better the next day.
Yeah.
It was probably better the next day, and somebody could have caught 32 pounds. There was one tournament there, a BFL, where there was my buddy Damian Willis told me this. There was 4 boats sitting on all 4 corners, and every one of those boats had 30 to 35 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
Co-anglers and anglers in a BFL had 30 to 35 pounds, every one of them. Because they have to funnel through that area. They just hit it at the right time. Now, when we did idle through that bridge, we could see the fish and how they were suspended. I'm not going to say what they look like because I don't want somebody going through there and saying, oh, my God, there's bass. They're going to have to figure that out themselves. But because it's so hard to differentiate crappie and bass, because there's big crappie in that lake, and they do the same stuff as bass do. And there's big, as you know, there's big drum in that lake too, Tennessee River. But the bass do different things. And when you can idle by that and see that, you better stay your butt on the bridge. And that's what Stephen and I done. And we saw it that morning. We saw the bass coming out from the pylons eating bait. And we put that true bass 3/4 ounce head with a 6/0 Gamakatsu. This is not the right color. We threw a white back, but this is a pearl. You can still catch them on that. But the key to this bait is when you throw that bait, you want to parallel those pylons. But when you parallel the pylons, you want that bait to sink. And when you want it to sink, you want to pull your line out as fast as you can. I don't care what gear ratio reel you got. You don't have to have just a perfect gear ratio reel as long as you know your cadence and you have a bow in that line. But when it falls on a slack line, you want it right there on that column. And when it falls, those big bites are going to come on the fall. They're never going to cut. Those big bites hardly ever came on the reel.
So you have to know exactly when they eat it because you'll just see it. Got it.
Right. And there's another little nugget in the summertime.
It was all the juice, man.
I don't know, man. I got on a pattern one. I don't know if it really works or not. I know it works. In the summertime, when those brim are up, it's just not Guntersville. I mean, it's docks, it's bridges as well, like intersection points. When they come out too is the best time to do it. But they still hang out there. If you've got deep water around a bridge, there are bass there all year long. There are bass, and you can win a tournament off of a bridge. There's multiple bass over 5 pounds on a bridge, I believe, because there's bait, there's perfect shade. But what happens is when you see those brim really high in the column and they're up underneath the columns, you want to, all right, I'm going to say it. You want to get a 7-foot heavy and you want to get a 1/2 ounce jig. I don't care if it's a football jig, a flipping jig, whatever, green pumpkin. Put you a green pumpkin trailer on there and start peeling line as fast as you can and let that thing just straight down. You can't let it pendulum. That's why you got to peel line. And they'll hit it on the fall. They think it's a dead brim. And that you can absolutely lights out in the summertime if it's really tough. Yeah.
Dropping some juice.
Yeah. Another thing is dropping a mat lure down. Man, y'all are boring.
He wants to talk about it.
Y'all just being quiet, but I just want to talk about it. I just love talking about it. But
it's so cool.
I mean,
words like bluegill imitation swim.
Yeah, you literally just slackline it. I call it slacklining. Not a lot of people do it, and you're not going to beat me if I'm doing it. If they're on it, and anybody can come on the bridge and they can go right next to me, but it's a technique, and it all depends on rod size and your gear ratio of your reel when you do it. Because when they bite it, you can't miss them. Like it's quick. Like you got because you're already peeling that line off, and if they bite it halfway down, you got 5-6 foot of line out, so you got to have a 8-1-1, whatever it is, a really high gear ratio reel, and you got to just burn that thing and just pull up. You can't slackline set. If you slackline set, you're done. But man, I'm all about it, man. Yeah.
I mean, while you're talking about it, at least for how you caught them, what was your rod setup, like line and everything?
Well, I was throwing. Steven and I both were throwing 20-pound fluorocarbon.
Mm-hmm.
Knots really don't matter. We was just bow tying a Palomar. We like to throw. I'm like fighter. Like I like my rods a little bit. I like my rods a little bit light. I don't like to, excuse me, but I don't like heavier rods. There's no reason for that. If you've got a good reel and you've got a good hook, you can bury it and still boat flip a 6-pounder with a lighter rod. I can feel better with a lighter rod. I can load up better. It gives them time to have the bait, and that's the reason I like a lighter rod. I use this, and it may sound crazy, but a 3/4 ounce head and a 6-inch bait. We throw a 7.3 heavy or a 7.3 medium heavy, depending on the bite. It all depends on the bite. If they choke it, then we're throwing a lighter version of a rod, because they want to be able to choke it. So we want to be able to load up on them. If they're not choking it and they're really hammering it, we want a heavier rod. And the reason is because you want to be able to feel how they're getting it. Like if they're just ramming it, you don't want to set the hook. But you'll know because they'll put slack in your line, and you can reel up and set the hook if they put slack in your line. If they never put slack in your line, they never have it, because they're always going to come to you if they've got it.
Yeah,
if they've got it in their mouth, they're always going to come to you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's that. But if they're coming to me and it's really tough with that heavy rod, I can load up, and if I don't pick up enough line, I still got enough backbone where I can get them. But when they're choking it like they were at the Alabama Bass Trail Tournament, I'm throwing a 7.3 medium heavy, and I'm just pulling into them. I'm not setting the hook. I'm just pulling into them. That true bass jig head, man, it's got such a good Gamakatsu hook in it that you can't go wrong with it. I mean, you're going to bury it inside their brain every time. Yeah. Salzy and I are really good friends. We're trying to work on a really good swim bait here soon. So,
saucy.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. So, like, talking about the bite you're on, was it a window deal, or was it something you were on them all day, or did you Was it a certain window you got on them and had to make an adjustment and go somewhere like and change with them? Like how did that work?
Well, really, Stephen and I we were already banking on the bridge, like I told y'all, like we were already banking on the bridge. So we knew it was going to be a window opportunity. And the reason is those bait fish would come in and out, man, on that live scope, like I talked about earlier. Those bait fish would come in and out, in and out. So you would stay spot locked on that spot and just keep chunking at the same spot. I mean, that's the reason people leave the bridge, because they chunk at it for 30 minutes and they leave. Like you just got to stay there.
And on that 31st minute, that bait clump could come through, and all of a sudden it's on for 5.
And it's bar, yeah, exactly, Andrew. And it's bar fish. It's gizzard shad. It's anything that gets, because that whole bridge is covered in bait. Whether it's crappie, barfish, gizzard shad, threadfin, whatever it is, the whole bridge from end to end is covered with bait. But when that one bait ball gets away from each other, that's when those bass go crazy. And when we had a team on the other side of the bridge from us, actually where we came in 4th last year on the same tournament, they would catch a fish and we would catch a bigger fish. They would catch fish, we'd catch a bigger fish. When somebody would catch a fish, the other person's going to catch fish. I mean, because they're just there. They just go in between those columns and feed. So Stephen and I actually went to the other side one time, and I caught a 615. I think it was our biggest fish off the other side of the columns, and they weren't catching anything at the time, the Brewers. And then we'd come back, they would set the hook, and we knew to throw in there. But they were really good. I mean, I can't thank them enough for what they did. I mean, they were just awesome guys, and hopefully they'll get. I think his name's Nathan. I think they're going to get Nathan Brewer next week on the podcast at Alabama Bass Trail, because what happened is they were sitting on the up current side, and they were throwing scroungers and they were throwing small swim baits, and we were on the down current side, and those bass were looking up towards them. And I think that was a really big player. Current's always a player, and the fish are always going to face up towards the current. But we just caught bigger fish, bigger baits, and I don't know, man. It was just you had to crawl it. You had to really crawl it. If you weren't getting bit on the fall, you'd just feel every single rock on the bottom. I mean, you just barely reel it on the bottom. Feel every single rock. You would feel old Jim Bob's jig that he lost 3 years ago on the bottom of it. And I'm not even lying. Like, you'll be like, oh, there's a chartreuse jig. Like, because you bring it up. Like, I mean, it's just like crazy, man. It's crazy. They live there. They travel it. Then they come back. It's great for a lot of different times of the year. But hopefully we got a pattern that people will leave it alone if we're, not if we're there, I'm not saying, but
technical pattern too. So I mean, they could go and try it, but they still might not catch.
Exactly. I mean, they can listen to this podcast and listen all they want to, but I hear it all the time. I can't tell this person, you can go catch my fish here. There's a spot. Go catch my fish. Very rarely that happens.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely. And I got it all the time. Like high schoolers, man, it drives me crazy. They had a 300 boat, something absurd amount of boats that went out of Goose Pond that day. None of them really mess with you, but you do have that here. You have a lot of boats that will just pull in right on top of you. And it's absurd, and I wish it would stop because it does get really bad here in Alabama. I mean, every high school has a high school team of 20 plus on their team, and everybody's fishing every tournament. And I understand. I want them to get in the sport. I want them to go to college and do it, but have respect about other anglers out on the water. And also, if you do, throwing this a plug in there, if you do want to go to college and make it in the college fishing, work your butt off as in school and as an angler, plus for your team.
Yeah.
Mainly for your team. Work your butt off so you can make it. If you do that, you'll make it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. That's some really good advice.
Yeah.
That was what?
A lot of people I've had high schoolers come in straight from high school to Wallace State, and they come in and sit there and call their daddy. Like, hey, what do I need to do? Hey, no, when you're in college, you need to know what you're going to do. Like, if
Keep your big boy pants on and get going.
yeah, that's right. You need to put your big boy pants on, get going. Your daddy's not going to help you anymore. You don't need to call you daddy. You need to be able to do the stuff yourself. Learn how. This is a learning avenue to be a entrepreneur, a leader. This is a time. If you want to be a leader, you can be the president of the bass club, and that would help you so much. It teaches you how to have responsibilities, to get everybody paid up for their bass membership, to make sure all your club is registered for all the tournaments. Make sure that you have enough money in your account to where you can be able to go on tournaments. Make sure you save all the receipts for every tournament, and because the school's got to pay taxes for that. No matter if that's a tax write-off or not, they've got to pay taxes for it. So you got to make sure every receipt's counted for 100%. You can't have any tobacco on it, no beer, no nothing. It's got to be fully clean when you come back. And if you want to, there's so much involved in college fishing. Oh my gosh, I wish you guys could know. I mean, it was so stressful because I had a little bit of help, but I didn't have a lot.
Right.
And it was a woman named Cindy Maddox really helped me out, and she stepped up as a sponsor and helped sign all the paperwork. And Wesley Sams, he actually fishes the Alabama Bass Trail as well. I don't know if you guys know him. Wesley Sams, and then Jordan Wiggins, he's actually going to the Classic from Harris Chain.
Yeah.
Team Trail. Yeah. So that's Jordan's partner is Wesley Sams. So yeah, dude, we all room together and stuff in the Alabama Bass Trail. We're all good friends. But yeah, if it wasn't for those two, I never would have made it in college fishing. Never would have been where I'm at now for sure.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah,
That's sick.
yeah.
Well, dude, we got two. Well, I got one more question for you here, and then we'll see if Andy's got anything for you. Before that,
I'm taking in the juice.
Yeah, and it's been sick to sit back and kind of listen to the different minute things that you figured out, and it's actually really cool and kind of sparking some ideas in my own brain for up here in the north. But
That's what it's all about, man. That's really cool. Like I'm super stoked. Like I wish I could come up there and just like you talked to me off air, like it was like the Magdraft up at St. Lawrence, and I was like, I didn't do that because I wanted to bedfish so bad. And now I just want to do that, like, because I can find bedfish just as good. Like, I mean, that's how we find. Gosh, man, so much juice. Okay, that's how I find a lot of bedfish here, like, and throw a drop shot on top of them.
Yeah.
Well, swim baits are amazing search baits for that reason.
Yeah, and S waivers. I mean, yeah.
You might not see that big smallmouth, but all of a sudden, like you might not see the bed because of the watercolor. It's turned up, and all of a sudden, you're slow rolling that thing. You see that shadow come and be like, "Oh, now I know where you are."
Yep. No, I know exactly. I can throw a drop shot over there or a Ned rig and catch your butt.
Yeah,
that's it, dude. Yeah, we have that happen all the time here for sure. Hopefully, it plays at Wheeler a bunch. Like we got Wheeler coming up, and I think we're 24th in points or something. We really finished bad at Pickwick, and that really sparked a fire up in our butts. Like Stephen and I was like, no, this can't happen again. So we done it. We punched our ticket to the championship at Guntersville with the win, and we're going for Angler of the Year now so we can make it the team championship. Because you get spoiled, man. You really get spoiled when you go to the team championship. That's all you want to do. Go with your buddies, man. Go with the hammers. You learn from everybody when you stay with everybody. And it's a close-knit relationship, man. It really is, and especially in the Alabama Bass Trail. There's a clique, and you want to be in that clique. I mean, and there's very few that get in it. Yeah.
So
Sure.
just a little side note here real fast. One of the coolest spawn bites I've ever gotten on for smallmouth was I was drawing them out of 10 foot of water with a whopper plopper to get them to show them.
Oh, that's freaking cool, man.
They would come up and miss it by like 4 feet. But you're like, there he is, and you just go back
He's
in.
4 foot behind it. Yeah.
And you pick up the drop shot, and you're like, oh, there's a 6.
Yeah, that's freaking cool, dude.
But every once in a while, they would get that, like the big one, the 110 or the 130.
Yeah.
They would get both hooks in the side of their face. And you're just like, what is going on?
Why are they biting that thing? Like, they get pissed off is what it is. They're freaking pissed off. Like, they're like, I don't want that thing anywhere around me. It's like these spots, because that's why when I come up north and catch those smallmouth, I'm like, dude, they act exactly like spots. They're current oriented. They get on rocky banks, sandy banks, clay banks. If there's any clay anywhere around, they'll get on them because they want crayfish more than they do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing about spots, man. Coosa River spots are the meanest things you will ever see in your life.
I want to go catch some of them on like Gunfish 115 or something.
Dude, just come on down. We'll have a blast. I'm telling you. Now, I will tell you, it's gotten really tough the past 5 years because of pressure. Like, it's so pressured here. Like, I'm not one of those guys that's like, the reason I don't catch fish is because it's so pressured. It's so no, it really is. Like, here, there's so many boats, man. I mean, it's
pressure.
We had 200, but we had 200 plus boats on that bridge coming in and out. So I could never lie to you of what I was doing. Like,
because he'll call you out on it.
Exactly. Somebody was going to call me. No, you didn't do that. You were in the very back of that creek. I didn't see you. I saw you on the bridge. And like Live was there too, and I was like, oh god. And my ex-girlfriend is the camera person for ABT, and it's, I don't know. I won't get into that, but it's yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah.
We're getting a couple different versions of juice in tonight's show.
Yeah. Juice. And then the juice.
Dude, y'all listen to Straycast? I'm just going, yeah, dude. Freaking Pat's unreal, man. Like I love podcasts, man. I don't know what it is, but like I just freaking die laughing at that crap. Like that's one of my goals too, is to be on Straycast one day. I would freaking love to be on Straycast one day. Like I don't know, man. I don't know. I get off topic a lot too. I got ADHD and like I'm freaking everywhere, man.
Side note, I feel like to be a successful fisherman, you almost have to have ADHD because you have to be so aware of everything going around. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'm like fishing, I don't know, a jig, and all of a sudden I see bait fish boil behind me, and I'll set the jig down, throw topwater over, and catch fish. I'm like, he kicked in again. Perfect.
Yeah, that's it. Like, oh gosh, oh no, the best one is when you're throwing a crankbait and you feel the water come off of it, and you're like, was that just me, or did the water come off of that crankbait? And it's like, I'm not smoking pot right now. I'm like, I'm being, because like I'm looking around, like trying to look for somebody, but it's me, the one that felt it. And I'm like, no, water came off of that crankbait. Like, I know it. You throw back a jig over there and just, doop. And it's like, I knew it. I knew it the whole time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You almost have to be so like in tune with what's going on. And people that are able to do that differentiate themselves and get like 5 or 6 more bites a day. So
that's it, because a lot of people burn the bank up at the Coosa. I'm telling you, man, we've got water willow, which I call it Coosa grass, but we've got a lot of that. And a lot of times, man, those fish won't come out so aggressive, and they'll just barely nip it, man. And a lot of people just pass. And that grass will get fished 5 times a day. And unless there's a good angler that comes over there and knows what he's doing and switches something up and knows that there's a bass there, that's when he's going to catch him. And that's the person that really pays attention to that. And you guys have Wes Logan on too one time, right? He lives about a mile down the road. I went to high school with Wes, and like we were like super competitive against each other. So like, yeah, like Wes is really cool. He saw me the other day and we was like high fiving out of the truck. Yeah. So yeah, Wes and Miss Diane. If Miss Diane watches this, I love y'all. Yeah, y'all are super cool.
Wes is good people. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
they are good people. Yeah.
What? Andy, do you have anything left for Josh before we hit him with our last question of the night?
Nah, man, I'm just pumped that you and Chris might be coming up here in October.
Yeah, I was going to tell you. You were talking about, I'm so booked up for October. I don't know what. You better be not booked up for when was it? I think you said.
No, I already put you guys on the calendar.
Oh, we're good. We're coming. I'm freaking pumped, dude. I'm coming with a Magdraft. I'm freaking coming.
I was on the phone with Chris at lunch, and I was like, "You actually gonna come?" He's like, "I think so." I was like, "Don't book your plane tickets though until I tell you to, because we gotta make sure the weather's good." But
yeah, for sure.
I mean, if we can't go smallmouth fishing, we'll go largemouth fishing somewhere. So
what's that song, the Edmund Fitzgerald? When the November wind blows in the
we won't be November yet, so we're all right.
Yeah, I don't want the November winds to come in October because I don't want to capsize.
No, normally that weekend it's pretty good. Like that week, sometimes we have like 75-degree days leading up to it, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, hopefully it's not like these naders coming in here in a little bit.
Yeah, stay safe.
Oh, dude, gosh, I'm freaking excited, but everybody else isn't. Like I'm like one of those. I'm like a Matt Robertson of Alabama. Like I want to go out there and look at the tornadoes when they're happening, but like I just pray that everybody's okay. Like I don't know. I'm weird like that, man. I'm a bass fisherman. We're always weird.
Nature's cool. Just nature's not cool when people are getting.
It's super cool. That's exactly right. You hit it right on the head, Bailey. Like it's super cool. Like I don't. If I told all my friends know this too. If I didn't do bass fishing, and I wasn't a landscaper, business guy, welder, all this other stuff, I would have been a nerdy weather guy. Like
nerdy weather.
Tornadoes. Like I think of that. I think about that stuff. Like, I was a cool cat in high school, like played baseball, blah, 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 this and that. But like nowadays I like watch the weather and then I think I'm a geek because I watch the weather, but I'm like, I really don't give a shit. Like I'm gonna watch the weather. Like I'm gonna do it.
I think that just speaks to like the fisherman mentality too, because we need to know exactly what's going on, and that kind of like gives us an idea how we're going to fish that day, how we're going to practice, how the fish are going to set up for a tournament based on like barometric pressures and high pressure, low pressure, front, post, pre, whatever. But a little side note, one of the best multi-species anglers I know is a part-time weather chaser. Every spring, every spring he goes to Oklahoma and chases tornadoes in April.
Oh, that's freaking cool. I would like to do that. I want to chase a tornado. Not with a boat or nothing, but like, with I would build my own like little.
No, that's the funniest
thing.
Like his own
what was that?
I don't know, like a little box thing in my truck and just freaking have a little radar on there, like woo, woo, woo. Like
you don't even know that. This man goes out there, he rents like a Honda Civic, like a 4-door Honda Civic.
That thing's gonna get crushed.
Weather apps on his phone. He's like, based on pressure, this is where the tornado is going to hop up. I'm going here, and he's like, there was days that I had like a quarter tank of gas and 45 miles down a dirt road, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was like,
what a crazy guy, man!
Oh, yeah.
Meet him.
I'll find some of the pictures and send them to you. It's just insane. Like he gets better shots than a lot of the stuff you see in the news.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's freaking cool, man.
Like,
I want to do that.
And then it pours, and I know why, because I'm stuck.
He needs a 4-wheel drive. He needs a little range. That's what I was talking about, Bailey. I want a Ranger. That's what I was doing that for, like a little side by side, like all decked in, and I could just ride down the interstate. Like, oh, don't worry, I'm just chasing tornadoes. That's it. Like
chasing naders.
Yeah. Hey, I want to give a shout out real quick. I saw Queen's Tackle up there. I used to fish against KJ in college too, man. That's pretty cool. Shout out to Queen's Tackle, man. That's pretty cool. KJ's a really cool guy. Like,
Oh yeah.
I can name off a bunch of people right now in the Elite Series that I fished against.
Sure.
Jake Whitaker. I fished against Jake. I fished against Dustin Cannell. I mean, all those guys, man. It's pretty cool. KJ. I mean, John Garrett. I mean, we all go back. Pat, me and Pat, like, if I see him at a bar, like at Low Budget Live thing at Birmingham, like, we just, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't want to get too deep in that, but like, it's cool. Like, it's really cool. Like, I love seeing my friends do good, man.
Heck
Heck
yeah.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
1,000%. The Queens are good people. Jeff,
Yeah, they are.
AJ doing an amazing job over there.
Absolutely.
But dude, we're gonna wrap it up here tonight. But we're gonna leave you with one last question, which I am very intrigued to hear your answer for. And that is, if you could sit down, have a beer and a steak with 3 different individuals, they don't have to be presently alive. They don't even have to be the fishing industry. What 3 people are you going to invite and why?
Just a little sidebar real fast. I feel like this is the first time we've asked this question in like 10 episodes.
Probably. It's been a while.
Gosh, man, y'all are, oh, man.
No prep.
Well, I will say this. If you'll go on YouTube and type in Donald Trump Jr. book signing, you'll see me on there. And I asked Donald Trump Jr. what beer he wants to drink during a book signing. That was pretty interesting. I was out of my mind, but yeah, that and that was pretty cool. So that's off my list. I guess, man, you know, I would want to go back. I'm gonna go back to music, man, real quick, because I'm a big music nut, man. I'm going to go with Waylon Jennings. You know why? It's because he was just so open-minded. Like, he was so open-minded and would make some. I know it's like cliche. I got a beard and long hair and stuff, but like, Waylon Jennings was a like super good songwriter, super good like just out there person, and I would like to sit down and have a beer with him, steak, you know, just sit down and not do drugs with him because I don't do all that stuff. But
Wild.
yeah, just do that, and then I guess the second person would be you know, probably Bill Dance. I would want to drink a beer with Bill Dance, even though he probably don't drink beer. Just because, like, he can go on and on and on and on about stories, and I could too. So we'll just bounce back and forth against each other all night.
Quick, real fast on the Bill Dance thing. Do you think he got famous because of his fishing videos or the blooper lines?
Well, I think the blooper lines were fake, but he definitely got famous off of his blooper lines. And he was like in that. If you look back.
Yeah.
At what they did, they had this little trend fashion thing going on, like sunglasses, high hats, like Jimmy Houston was in that. It's just like Seth right now, and like all the long hair guys, and like it's like a trend, man. It goes on. If you're different, people will start liking you. And I think that was what it was. His fishing was great too. I'm not saying that.
Oh yeah,
it was a trend.
That's a really.
It was a trend. It was a trend, and don't get me wrong. Everybody was a great angler, like Jimmy Houston and that. But I watched a video the other day, and like I'm like, okay, I've never seen Jimmy Houston back in those days, and it showed a clip of when he was wearing those sunglasses and he had that hair, and I was like, you know, damn, he could really been a Playboy model. Like this guy was like legit. Like, I'm like, this guy was saucy, man. Like, he was like, had everything going on. So did Bill Dance. Like, they were all confident. Roland Martin, they were all confident. Yes, they could fish. Yes, they had really good stuff, but they didn't have social media back then like we do now. So that really helped them doing the TV stuff. And can you name other people that done TV stuff except them?
Not really. Hank Parker.
Hank Parker.
Yeah.
I was just about to say Hank Parker. And that's it. I mean, think about who?
Women's too. You got Babe and
Yeah, Babe, but think about like the really good fishermen that were like actually good fishermen that really done good. Bob. Golly, what's his last name? I've done research. I wish I could have just had notes because I want to get down into this because I love this. I love this crap. But there was a bunch of other good fishermen, but nobody knows their name because right at the time they weren't famous because they didn't have TV shows, and that was a big deal back then. It was TV shows, and now it's Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, which I don't do TikTok, but I just really don't care about it. But Instagram, Facebook, and doing podcasts is a really big deal too to me. You know, y'all were actually the first podcast that I've ever had by myself without my partner. I wish he was here. I wish he was here because he's an inspiration to me, man. He helps me out a lot, and he's my best friend. And
we'll have to in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I wish I would because he's a really good guy. I work with him every day. We see each other like we're best friends, and I hated that he couldn't come on here tonight. But
after that Alabama Bass Trail Championship, we'll have to have you both on.
Oh, no doubt. But the third person here's the third person I would like to have a beer with. Oh gosh. All right, here we go. This is crazy, man. This is nuts. This ain't a celebrity or nothing, but I want to sit down with this person that designed this lure because it's going to me a lot of money, and I'm very confident with it. And if we can't, I'm being real. I like being real. I don't care. But if I can't get a sponsorship one day from this, I'm going to make a bait just like it, and I'm going to sell it for a lower price, and they're going to have it. I don't care because I love the bait. I've sold them I've sold a lot of baits for them, and if not, me and Salzy's going to do something. We're going to do something. I guarantee it.
Heck yeah, dude. That would be kind of cool to look back at the history of the Magdraft.
Yeah, it would. It really would. I would honestly love that because honest to goodness, like this bait's incredible. It really is. When they came out with the freestyle, man, I just knew like the bridges, man, were it. I can't get that bait, the actual freestyle, down to where I want it to be unless I just waited forever. I would have to wait forever to get it down to where I want it to. And I still don't know if the water resistance for the current was going to allow that bait to swim right. So when they came out with the freestyle, I knew it's still going to have the same effect as the original Magdraft and still going to have the same effect as catching fish that it would the original Magdraft.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, that was it. But Magdraft's an incredible bait. It is.
Heck yeah, dude. Sweet. Well, Andy, anything left for Josh? Josh, do you have anything left for the folks that you'd like to mention before we sign off here?
They may watch a little bit later. This is one of my sponsors. They help me out a lot. Like they help me out with local tournaments and stuff. Alabama Anesthesiology and Pain. Joel and Janet, I appreciate it. Like I mean, even a couple $100 helps a lot, so I want to thank them a lot. I want to thank everybody. I love everybody, man. I'm not a smoking hippie or whatever, but peace, love, and kindness, man. It's all good here in the neighborhood, and you just got to keep going and
go to bed, right?
Yeah, I go to bed, man. I got to wake up at 4:00 in the morning and go to work. Yeah, I do. Yeah, so I do that survey, and then when I get done surveying at 2:00, I can go cut my grass and do lawn care, and then I fish. So it's busy. It's really busy. I like staying busy, man. It keeps me out of trouble. It keeps me right. It keeps my head right. It really does. So
yeah, heck yeah, dude. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your night to come join us in the show. It's been not only an absolute blast to meet you, but it's been an honor to chat with you and dropping some knowledge for us in the show. So we really appreciate that, and obviously not only for our knowledge gain, but for the fans as well. So
Yeah,
we
I hope they
appreciate
learn
you, dude. And like I said, we'd love to have you back on the show and bring your boy, your teammate on after that team championship for the ABT. It'd be pretty cool.
Oh, dude, we're gonna come on for sure. You can go ahead and book us. Like
All right.
we're so fired up, man. Like, it's gonna be crazy, man. Like when I get fired up, I get fired up. Like I could be like a Southern preacher, man. Don't get me fired up. Like it's gonna go down. But dude, I appreciate y'all having me on. I'm sorry I was late.
You were good.
Dude, no worry at all.
So sorry, man. But thank you guys for having me on, and hopefully I can come on some more and drop some more knowledge. I've got some more nuggets, but I'll save them.
That's fair.
Always welcome, dude. Always welcome. But yeah, man, take care. Obviously, we'll be in touch. And good luck to you, buddy. And obviously, go get some rest because you got to be up bright and early.
Appreciate it, dude. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it, Andrew Bailey. Y'all take care.
Take care, dude. Good dude. I love the energy, dude. If that's an energy you could ride into like every day, every tournament morning, practice morning, dude, that's what you need. Like that's a clean slate. That's a healthy slate right there. That's pretty sick. But huge shout out to Josh for taking the time to come out with us tonight, and that was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got the chance to have him on, and I can 100% say that's not the last time we're going to have him on the show.
I quick little shout out to my buddy Chris too. That's the second podcast referral he's given us, and both have been great. So
yeah, heck yeah. First one was Bragg.
Yep.
Now
Mr.
Josh.
Yeah. So,
now we just need to get Chris on.
Yeah. Maybe we could have like a trifecta and just have Chris stories. We call it Chris Howell story time, and have Josh and Bragg tell stories about Chris and him say nothing. Because I know there's some wild stuff that would come out of that. So
I'm sure that he's shaking his head yes down there in the queue. He knows. Oh man! But before what's that?
That would be a funny one.
It would be. That would be cool. We could do like the I know like Straycast he was talking about. He listens to, and I was listening to Jeff Gustafson episode, and they did like a 10-minute roast of Jeff Gustafson. So that was a good one. We could totally just piggyback off of their doing and just roast people that come on the show. That would be kind of fun.
Have two buddies come on and roast their buddy.
Yeah. We could have that person on. Don't tell them their two buddies are coming on, and then just roast them.
We have a special segment.
Yeah. I think we have to implement that. The folks, you have to let us know if you'd like to see that. We won't call it a Serious Angler podcast. We'll call it a Serious Dangler podcast. Have a little spin-off of it where it's anything but serious.
Yes. That'd be perfect.
I know. But real quick, tomorrow, obviously it's a Wednesday today, so tomorrow on Thursday I'm putting up a Rod and Reel Arsenal video for 2021. I know people have been asking about that. And then one thing I want to mention as well is episode 200 coming up here shortly. Obviously, it's 195 coming up here shortly in the next 2 weeks. If any folks listening, any fans that tune into the live, it is going to be a live show. If you guys would like to come on and tune in and join us for 5 or 10 minutes on the show to chat, anyone is welcome. So reach out to us. Let us know if you want to be a part of it, and we'll get it all set up. But excited to hit episode number 200, and we haven't even gotten to year 2 yet. We're a year and a half in, dude.
Yeah, cranking
away. So, but I'm excited for it. This show was a lot of fun with Josh. Before we sign off here, do you have anything else left for the folks before we say sayonara till Friday?
Hello, spring. That's all I have to say. So,
yeah, I know Josh has got to get to bed. I'm trying to get to bed because I'm trying to get up early and hit the water.
Yeah.
I got a mission to go on tomorrow. Got some practice to put in, some work to put in, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to get back on the water here in New York. So, without further ado, folks, we appreciate it. As always, you guys tuning in, and we'll see you guys on Friday.